Hi everyone, I hope that you're happy and well and had a wonderful Christmas or holiday time. I apologise for not being here sooner. I've had my own drama going on with animals getting loose, especially one that got loose, Peggy Sue, who was gone for 26 hours, and it was an absolute nightmare. But I am ever so grateful for absolute strangers, people who don't even know me. They didn't know Peggy Sue. They didn't know our situation and what was going on. There was over 10,000 people that shared, liked, commented on what was going on, because it was such a dangerous situation. It wasn't just, oh, your dog got out, here he is, he's down the street. It was so many things that could have killed her, so many things that were going on. We just didn't know where she was, and 3 of them had actually got out. But we found the other 2 relatively quickly. She was nowhere to be seen. There was just not a sign of her. It was absolutely terrifying. And as I said, we do not live in the city, and there are many dangers for her, not just to mention farmers who, it's deer season right now, so everyone's shooting in the mornings and late at night, right? So not only that, but the traffic that does come down our road, flies down our road, let's just face it. Also, we didn't find her where we found the others. We didn't know if she was lying somewhere injured. We just didn't know. And so we went through hell, not gonna lie. And people were just absolutely amazing. There was a lady who lived 2 driveways down. It's about, it sounds close, right? But it's not. It was about a quarter of a mile, if not a little bit more, further down the road. And she had witnessed and seen our Peggy Sue like 3 times, and she's trying to let us know. And we'd go and she just wasn't there. I was on the side of the road with a flashlight because of the headlights in the car. So I was walking along the side of the road. I could see she was coming to me. Next thing you know, a car's coming down the hill, almost took her out right in front of me. And I'm just screaming at her, and she took off again. So just, oh my God, it was just one thing after another. We were just beside ourselves, and I could not think straight. And I wrote a big passage about this on Patreon and bits and pieces, because if it wasn't for the breathing protocols and visualizations and going into the flame work, even for her, the dogs, right? I don't know. I was just beside myself. We both were, my husband and I, and my son was looking late at night in the freezing cold. So anyway, I haven't been about because there's been so much going on, and I still managed to do my webinar on Sunday. So I appreciate those of you who came to the webinar, right? But we are in a state of relief. So this particular video, I decided to write about the shadow patterns, psychology, and the flame path, because so many people are feeling off. Emotions are louder, tech is glitching, things are happening, right? Upsetting situations, right? Relationships pressing buttons, people behaving strange. I said there was some 10,000 people or something that didn't know us from a bar of soap, that were absolutely just all over this with our dog. And there were people who have known us very well and didn't even bother to say, are you guys okay? Like, so it was a very eye-opening time, to say the least. But what's happening psychologically? What's happening nervously? What's happening energetically? There's a lot of people up in the air. Things are happening. One of my friend's videos today, she's there talking on video, and she didn't touch anything with her hands because she was literally showing us crystals, right? And it just went in absolute slow motion. Sometimes when you watch my video, it glitches out, or it's distorted, or you can't hear, although it's fine on my end, right? There's a lot of things happening energetically. So we're going to reset things in a way that gives you this absolute clean start. So what we're doing, the psychology of why the end of the year destabilizes people. The flame work that seals your field restores your center and ends those repetitive loops. And by the end of this video, you should have a reset practice that you can do in a few minutes. Reset yourself. A pattern interruption thing that you can use, a script, I guess you could call it, for emotional manipulation. And a flame activation for your new year timeline. And it's not a new year, new you, okay? It's a new year, real you, all right? A simple plan that doesn't collapse on January the 3rd, so let's go. Psychologically, first, okay, what can happen at the end of year pressure? It is a psychological compression chamber. Most people don't realize it, but the brain does something around transitions. Every time. It runs a scan and it says, what did we do? Where did we fail? What didn't resolve? Who's going to drive us crazy? Who's going to pick on us? What if I can't do this? A whole new year's coming. I'm so tired of putting up all of these new me sort of affirmations. I want to do something different, right? So the scan that we do to ourselves of what did we do and where did we go and how did we go wrong, or whatever it is, the nervous system is like, is it safe to relax? And if your year had stress and it had grief and it had money pressure and it had relationship problems and it had instability or constant vigilance, right? So if you're constantly uptight for 2025 and you're asking, is it safe to relax? Your body's going to say, no, actually, we're going to stay hyper aware. So instead of this new year energy, people get insomnia, they get digestive issues, they get irritable, cranky, depressed. They have this doom scrolling, thing. Impulse spending, like, who gives a crap, I'm just going to get it. Conflict picking, so, they're just picking a fight. Or shutting down and disappearing, withdrawing, just not sharing, right? So, the identity system, your brain tries to protect the identity that you've practiced all year. Because even if it's familiar to you, if it's miserable, it's still familiar, something that you already know. So if you say, I'm changing, your subconscious mind sometimes says, not unless we prove that it's safe. Not unless I know for sure nothing's going to happen. And that's why people sabotage the exact moment that they want to rise, right? So the end of the year triggers people's life narrative. Am I behind? Did I waste time? Is it too late? It's going to take me a whole nother year. I still haven't seen this and I still haven't seen that. And this one's saying this and this one's saying that. And drama, drama, drama. So the narrative creates shame. And shame is one of the biggest relapse engines on the earth, right? So if you're wobbling right now, it doesn't mean that you're broken. It means that your system is scanning for safety, right? And that's where your flame work begins to come in full force. So we need to make sure that as we enter into this next era, this new year, that we are not taking with us the things that we don't want. One of the videos that I've made recently was that of timelines. And it gets to me that there are some people that are constantly going on about things that they really don't want anyway, right? Constantly bringing up something that was said or something that was done to them or some situation that's hurtful or something that may stop them, or so it's difficult or whatever, right? Because when we work with the flame, we don't allow the things that we don't want in our life to continue to get air. If we are moving into the timeline where we do have things coming to us, then why are we still activating these old fears, these old things, this old darkness? Okay? Because otherwise what will happen to you is you will go through an endless chase in your life of trying to release yourself from something that you have instant control over by working with the flame. So it's not positive vibes. The flame work is not positive vibes. It is sovereignty. It is clarity. It is clean direction. Okay? It is choosing a standard in your life. In psychological terms, flame work is building internal authority. It is creating very, very clear boundaries. It is stabilizing the nervous system, who has been used to be on a panic button. Your nervous system overrides itself whenever there's an issue. I know, because with this shock that happened to us, just all of a sudden at like 5:30 in the morning, you're not even awake yet, and you are trying to find animals that could be terrorizing someone's chickens or something. Oh my God. So you can't think straight the moment that you're in that panic, which is what happened to me. And it wasn't for about 5 hours or something when I finally said to my husband, I have to go into my office and reset myself. And he goes, okay, no worries, right? So you have to take your power back even when it's very difficult to do so. But it stabilizes the nervous system. It ends compulsive attachment to chaos. Remember that your internal self is kind of looking for that because it's what it's familiar with. It's sad, but that's what happens. Moving from reactive identity to chosen identity as well. So today we're looking at flame work like a system restore. Remember, I've spoken to you about that before also. We're not pretending that everything's fine. That's not what it's about. But we reset the operating system, which is you. So reset. Slow down. Flame system restore. So if you really want to reset yourself, the best practice is one hand on your chest and one on the lower belly. It's a stabilizing force. Okay? We're going to do 3 steps. We're going to do signal safety. We're going to clear interference, and we're going to install a new direction. So, ready? Inhale through the nose for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. And we'll do that again. Inhale for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. While you're breathing, you're saying, my body's not under threat right now. I return to the present time. You're not forcing calm. You are informing your nervous system, and it will do the work for you. So, my body is not under threat right now. I return to the present time. Okay. Imagine a flame, not a wildfire, just a flame, a steady, intelligent flame, like a pilot light, in the center of your chest. And you say, anything that is in the field that is not mine, release. Anything I absorbed from other people, return, neutralized or dissolve. Any loop I kept alive with attention ends now. Breathe out like you're fogging a mirror. Okay, so now we install a new direction. Okay, so we say to the flame, what's the next true step? Not the whole year, not your whole life, okay? Just the next true step. And wait, okay? When something comes, a word, an image, a sensation, my mind is be at peace, bring yourself back into your center constantly. Say to yourself, I accept that. I'm accepting that, right? And then we're going to seal things. So we imagine our flame wrapping itself around us 360 degrees. Like a warm window, like glass, right? And we say, my field is sealed in clarity. My energy is no longer available for chaos. I move forward clean. And that's the reset. You just trained your system to stop hunting for danger and start hunting for direction, centeredness, be at peace, calm. How many tabs do you have open? Do you really need those open, all of those? Are you really looking at all of those things at once? Right? Close all of those tabs. Shut yourself into your center and learn that you're only going to make sense. You're only going to be able to think clearly. You're only going to feel calm when you shut out all excess noise and return to your center very easily. I did see something fall down. It looked like it was falling down on my face like that. I don't know if you guys saw it. So we're not available for chaos. When something happens that is out of your control, like, a kid goes missing, animal goes missing, someone slams into you, you're in a car accident, something happens. The last thing you're thinking is, well, I'm just going to be at peace right now. I'm going into my center. But the moment that you understand that you are completely sort of shattery, that you are completely out of your own energy field and involved in many different ones all at once, then you can easily do the hold. If you're an anxious person, you might want to start doing this hold on yourself, or it's like having a weighted blanket. It's the same effect. It's very, very calming, right? And you're also training yourself out of this, I always get anxiety. I always have some problem. It's the end of the year, of course this would happen to me. I always. If you say that to yourself, you will always. It's time to also understand that as we move into this new era, okay, the flame sovereignty, that it is all about you. It is all about your journey. It is all about your focus. It is all about your direction. It is all about your restoration. It is not seeking from everywhere. It is not wondering what anyone thinks. It's not putting up with people's bad behavior towards you. It's having strong, very, very strong boundaries without really caring whether those strong boundaries are upsetting others. You're not setting out to hurt anybody. That's not what I'm suggesting. But you're also not allowing people to hurt you, use you, manipulate you, abuse you any further, because you are learning what your body does. You are learning what it is that you truly want, okay? And you're just getting used to this. So you cannot let other people override you and then expect that you're going to get a great outcome, or expect a bad outcome, okay? And then everyone overrides you anyway. So you're resetting, you're training your mind to come into this safe place where you are safe, okay? So again, the psychology of this, the 5 main things or patterns that hijack New Year energy. It happens, doesn't need to. So the shame review, the inner voice says, I didn't do enough, I failed, I'm behind. I was going to do such and such and such. I was supposed to lose 50 pounds. 20 kilos, whatever. I didn't run the marathon I was going to do. I didn't write the book I wanted to write. I didn't create the cards I wanted to do, right? I didn't make the money I wanted to make. So, you know, now I feel really bad, and I'm going to have to start from the beginning again in the new year. The truth is that shame doesn't motivate sustainable change. It never does. It just causes a freeze reaction, or perfectionism, or avoidance. Some people just give up entirely. And some people hope that everybody else will change around them and see what they're trying to do and understand them, and they will do better. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You have to understand your own patterns in an honest way, know what you constantly recycle and what actually continues to happen to you, and understand that it's your reaction to it, it's your boundary or lack of, right, that is causing the situation for how it is. But shame is not going to make it change. Shame's just going to make you feel worse until you basically start thinking that, well, I'm this far gone now. I just can't keep it up. I can't keep going. It's not going to work, right? The correction for this, or the flame correction, is I don't review my life through punishment. Haven't you had enough of that? Okay, I review my life through instruction. So instead of saying all this happened, say what worked. Okay, something worked. What drained you? How many things drained you? What is the next lesson? What is the next adjustment? Okay, what are you going to change from what happens? Now, nobody needs to know what it is for you, right? Nobody needs to know. And as you adopt these things in your life, things begin to actually shift. This is a hijacking point of shame, where you're looking back over and wishing that you had done a hell of a lot more. It doesn't help you. It only creates a bigger hill for you to climb. It's not helping you, right? So the fantasy reset, this January 1st delusion. People say, I'm going to become a different person that day. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to join the gym. I'm going to, right? Then when reality hits, or something sets them back, or they couldn't go, or it didn't happen, or someone whatever, they crash, right? So the new way of talking about it is, my new year is a build, not a wish. I'm building it. Which means that there can be changes that come in that time. And it can be better than what you might first think as well. So you pick one small daily behavior that you can keep even on bad days, right? One small daily behavior, which would be bringing yourself back into your center. Breathe. Take your power back. Then you're going to be able to make better decisions as you're moving along. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm talking funny. I have bitten all of the inside of my mouth. Anyway, you know how that happens. You bite your tongue and then you keep on doing it, right? I literally needed to say something. I did. So there was things that I could not digest either. So I had all that problem yesterday. Reset myself. I still got the reminder. Okay. Manipulation and emotional hooks is the next thing. The end of year triggers family guilt, relationship pressure, obligation games, right? It's like as soon as you just try and relax, here comes the message, here comes the info, here comes the drama, here comes the problem, here comes something you got to do. And the common scripts with that is, after everything I've done for you, or you've changed, right? Or it must be nice. Oh, it must be nice to have such and such and such and such. Oh, it must be. Oh, you think you're better than us now, you know, because you're not putting up with their bullshit. So, wow, okay. The psychology is, it is controlling you through shame and also through your fear of rejection. Don't want to let anyone down, blah, 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 blah. The cycle continues. So now we learn these new flame boundary lines, which I know you all love, where it can say, I hear you. Someone is heard. Okay. I'm not available for guilt. It's still a no for me. I'm available for respect and respect only. Or I'm not discussing this in a pressured state. We can talk when it's calm. Right? You know, all of that passive aggressive behavior constantly. Like, no. Right? It's like, when you have something, now I'm going to tell you this. When you have something that other people are somehow envious of, you don't even know you got this thing, right? You've got something that other people are envious of, or you manage to get through, or you're confident, or you're strong in a crisis, or, you know, no matter what abuse you've gone through, you still manage to get yourself up. Those are things you've done yourself. Okay? Those are things that even though it was very easy for you to give up, you did not. Okay? It is a strength. It is a quiet strength. And when someone is jealous of you for what you're doing, or they become that way, right? You don't even realize it, even though they could do it themselves, right? They fear that you will be able to do it better, or they know that the only way that they can upset you is emotionally. Your job is going to be to really analyze what is worth your time and what is worth your energy, what fight is worth it and what isn't. And your other job is to continue how you're going and continue to get better and better and better, regardless of how uncomfortable somebody else feels in your presence. You have worked hard for what you are, for what you do, for who you are. You don't have this intent of being upset with anybody or jealous of anybody else or anything like that. So if people have felt threatened because of your ability to take charge of your life, it is their absolute problem. And it actually has nothing to do with you. And it has everything to do with them. Their low self-esteem, their victimhood, their own psychological problems that they could heal if they talked to you even, or actually took your advice. But they're so hell-bent on being mad with you for getting somewhere through your own effort, okay, that they try to tear you down the only way that they know that they can, and that is emotionally. So when you get yourself centered and strong and reset yourself emotionally, they can't get you that way either. And you know what? That may just drive them into absolute craziness. Still not your problem. Still not your issue. Okay? People replace discomfort with doing other things as well. So another hijacking is dopamine replacement. So they shop, they scroll, they drink, they argue, they overwork, they overdo, they overlift, they overexpend, whatever it is. And with the flame correction, we say, we don't fight any of these cravings with force. We redirect our nervous system. Replacing numbing of the self with a 90-second regulation, a slow inhale, a focused breath, right? A walk outside, a grounding, picking up a stone, a literal rock from outside. This is what this is, right? Music, breathing, okay, reset. Always go back to your reset. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Until you can start to make that an even a bigger pattern. Where do you start getting to holding for 11? Anyway. Stretching with your hand on your chest as well. Like putting one hand up and then stretching the other way. So you're constantly monitoring the center of yourself, okay? So the hijack number 5 is the I don't deserve it ceiling. So this is a real one. When things start to happen, visibility, money's coming in, the relationship's happening, you've got your house and you're getting sorted, the subconscious says, is it safe to have this? Is it going to be taken away from us at any time? Oh, you're just not good enough for this. You know, this person's going to go anyway. Or something's going to happen with this house and the roof's going to cave in, or you won't have the money to pay the mortgage, whatever it is, right? So if you're saying to yourself, no, I'm on edge about this, I'm unsafe, then you self-sabotage to return to the familiar suffering. This is why people say, why would this person still be with this dude that's beating her head in, right? Because they become trauma bonded. She becomes familiar with a place that is having her in a position of being lower. Because to rise to status also means that you might be knocked down even further down. So in a panicked mind, let's just say, when something terribly abusive is happening, you learn how to cope by staying right where you are. That's your coping mechanism. Anything else is even worse. It's even scarier, right? Now, if people who are being abused are listening to this and you start bringing yourself back to your center and taking your power back, you don't have to outwardly do anything or run away or go, right? However, it will change. Everything will change. And you will have the strength to do what's right for you regardless, right? Anyway, so the flame correction statement is, it's safe for me to be seen, it's safe for me to receive, and it's safe for my life to change because I'm in control of it, right? So the new year plan, let's just say. Building your 2026 like an architect. So if you have a pen and paper, you could grab one now if you want to, or just come back to this later. You're going to choose one stabilizer, one expander, okay, one protector. The stabilizer you're going to do for 5 to 10 minutes a day. This is for your nervous system and for consistency. So you do your 5-minute breath reset. Simple. You activate your firewall and your mirror wall. Simple. Do that while you're breathing. Take a walk in the morning. Make sure you're getting heaps of water or just hydration and heaps of protein. Okay, I'm a vegetarian. I still get heaps and heaps of protein. Journaling 5 lines a day. Like, if people aren't writing stuff, I don't know what you're doing. We need to go back. We need to normalize writing. Okay. And no phone for the first 10, 20 minutes. Okay, you can do that. You can go for your, if it's too freezing cold, whatever, right? I get it. Put your kettle on. Get stuff, set it, go set your fire, like this is kind of what we do in the morning. Get the fire going, get ourselves organized, get the kettle going. We have to wait for it to brew, do all your bits and pieces in the morning so you're not spending, as soon as you wake up, just grabbing a blanket and sitting with your phone, right? So you're sort of setting yourself up. At that point, you could be doing your breathing, could be whatever, right? So that's a stabilizer. So that's sort of getting you set up as a routine. It's getting you into a better day where you're already stable, in control. And what that means is that, like, even just doing the breath work, what it means is that you're going to notice if there's any disruption to your regulated state. You're going to notice those tabs starting to open, right? Or whatever's going on, drama starting to happen. So the expander to this is that 3 times a week You might create something, for example. Write something, create something. Send out, I don't know, send your newsletter or something, send out an offer or change something. Train your body. Some of the best advice, so my body has gone through a whole lot of different types of changes over many different years. And one of the best advice that I ever got for training my body, for example, was it wasn't so much about lifting weights or skipping or, you know, boxing training or, you know, hard work, right? It was about the focus. So that even if I went for a walk, let's say the inner thighs or something, right? Maybe you want to work on your pecs or your arms or something. So what you're saying to yourself is that as I go for a walk, I am going to connect my brain and that muscle to start squeezing or working or getting bigger or whatever it is. Be careful with those muscles on your walk. Be careful. So say you want to do, like, you got jiggly arms or something, right? Let's just focus on the arms. You got jiggly bat wings, right? Bingo arms, they call it. So if I'm going to focus on those, then I'm going to focus on the back of my arms, that they are just naturally, like my brain is telling the back of my arms to strengthen, to lengthen, to tighten, to strengthen, to lengthen, to tighten. So that without really having to do anything per se, my brain and my muscles are working together. That is, now, anything you do after that is a bonus. Okay, so that is just a little secret. The same thing with restoring your body or healing from an injury or something. Your brain needs to connect with that part of your body and tell it what to do. The problem with this is that people just are in it too much, so they're not thinking, right? But if you can start doing that, and you can start having this brain muscle, even the tiniest part of your body that you might want to be focusing on, if you can start doing that on your walk, or even if you're making your coffee in the morning, right? Instead of doing all these squeezes and I'm going to do sit-ups first thing in the morning, first establish that connection, because then when you do any kind of exercises or whatever, they work 10 times better. You have to do less. You get more out of it, right? So, training your body, study a skill or something that you've always wanted to do. You got to start somewhere. When I started playing bass, I didn't know how to play bass guitar at all. And I looked up to Cliff Burton, you know, from Metallica, and he passed away a long, long time ago now. And I remember hearing, like I wanted to be able to connect with him on a mediumship level, right? And I said to him, just nonchalantly, I'd love to learn how to play the bass. And he said, well, pick it up then. And I thought to myself, you know what? Obviously, I can't learn to play if I'm just wishing I could play or wanting to play or giving up on myself when I make a whole lot of mistakes, which you do. I couldn't even pluck a string when I first started because it was harder than I expected, right? So the speed and the accuracy and all those things come later, but you actually have to practice something, you know? So build a project, start something outside. Look, there's so much do-it-yourself stuff now, it's not even funny. Whereas before we used to have to actually know someone who knew someone or get taught something from, or read a book, right? But now you can build a project, small project, easy to do things, start something. Number 3 is the non-negotiable boundary, the protective boundary. And this is what prevents a relapse. So no conversations with certain people after 8 p.m. You're off duty. No going to bed with your phone and doom scrolling. Don't take your phone to bed. just leave it. I leave mine charging up in the kitchen. I don't have anything other than my instruments in my bedroom. We don't have our phones in there, only when Peggy Sue was missing. No conversation, so no doom scrolling, no, one no per week, right? You have to say no. No last minute rescues, like, you're just not hearing it. No, the phone is off. I mean, we get funny looks from people around us because they're like, well, I was trying to call you. And it's like, well, I don't have my phone on. Where they're like, well, why don't you have your phone on? I'm like, well, if it's that important, you're going to leave me a message and then I'm going to ring you later. It's not, I don't, you know, just because I'm here, I'm not available, right? I make a joke and I'm like, just because my light's on doesn't mean I'm home. So my son Adrian tries to call me from Australia, and I'm sure he sees my light on, or I see his light on Messenger or whatever, but we're not always available. You know, he's either just gotten on or just gotten off and the light's still on, whatever, right? It doesn't mean I'm home. So, no last minute rest. You're just not available. And you're allowed to say that because you're having ownership of your own self. Right, so this year I don't build my life on motivation. I am building my life on structure. Maybe that's something that you didn't quite have in place, and that's cool. Okay. All right, here we go. So, sorry, just my stomach started to go. Right, so we're creating a clean timeline. We are ending the old loop, the old patterns, the old issues, the old dramas. We are saying no when we need to. We are resetting our nervous system. The new year isn't about a whole lot of things that we can't tick off of our box. We're just starting one day at a time. One thing that we really want to do. Okay, good. But we've got to take one small action towards it, and that's it. We're not giving ourselves this whole thing. We're coming back into our real self, the real you. Okay, and that is just going to take daily devotion to that as well. Maybe it's something that you've never really done before. So before you go, let's seal this. Hand on chest. Deep exhale. I end the old loop. I choose the true path. I walk into the new year clean. My flame leads and my year follows. Okay, everybody. I hope this found you happy and well. I will talk to you all really, really soon. Sending love. Bye for now.